Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for coming out in support of Alton O'Connor. At the beginning of the 2008-2009 school year, one of my then carpentry students approached me and inquired if I would allow him to build a boat. I gave them some advice about the requirements of such a large project, and even shared some blueprints with them. These two young men began that mission immediately. I was impressed by the eagerness of these two young men and the fact that they were undertaking such a huge project. The two young men did not know it at the time, but they were being put to a test, because they knew such a large project would require lots of commitment, dedication, sacrifice, and not to mention many hours of hard work. I wondered then if the two young men would have been able to withstand such a test, and if they had realized what they were really getting into. Little did I know that one of those young men was seeing his dream come through. After a few weeks, one of those students withdrew from the project, and I thought it was only a matter of time before the other young man would become overwhelmed with taking on such a big project single-handedly, and that he might have no choice but to abandon his endeavor. But that young man persevered and kept the end in view. I know now that his determination was driven by his dream to build his own boat. I don't think I have to tell you who that young man is, but that was my first encounter with Alton O'Connor. I remember inquiring with Mr. Gregory Sargent, Alton's NCCER core teacher at the time, about the type of student Alton was. And Mr. Sargent's comments were, he's well-mannered, hard-working, very quiet and reserved, only talked in class when asked a question, and he was low on self-confidence. But after 2 years, I will tell you that Alton's character has changed. Mr. Sargent and I have seen improvement in some of his traits, despite some remain the same. Let me tell you what has changed, what has remained the same first. Alton is still polite, well-mannered, and a well-mannered young man. I am happy to announce that there have been no changes in those areas over the time he has been working with Mr. Sargent and I. Now let me tell you what has changed. Alton is no longer that quiet, reserved person who is low on self-confidence. Since undertaking this project, Alton has acquired a vast amount of self-confidence. He has also acquired confidence in project design, project building, and tool handling skills. Alton is positive about his choices and knows what he wants to do with his life. I have seen this young man move from the stage where he would ask, "What do I do next, sir?" to the stage where he now says, "This is what I plan to do, sir." Alton, Mr. Sargent and the entire Barkley family are proud of you. You have inspired many people, and you have set a perfect example for other students to follow. In fact, Alton is known around the school as the boatman. As a result of Alton's success, I am having numerous requests from other students to build boats. 2 years may seem as a long time working on this boat, but it must be realized that Alton did not work on this boat during summer or Christmas holidays. And this was only because Mr. Sargent and I were off island. Alton worked on his boat during lunch, after school, and on weekends during his breaks from the school. I got used to Alton's text messages on days when school was out. In fact, the first few text messages would read like this: "Mr. Haynes, are you going to school today?" In the last year, these messages changed to, "Mr. Haynes, what time are you coming to school today?" In fact, I contemplated giving Alton a set of keys at one time. I'm only kidding, Mr. Simmons. This speaks to the commitment of Alton and seeing his project to a successful completion. I remember a particular text from Alton on the day Bermuda was experiencing bad weather, and the public was advised to stay off the roads unless absolutely necessary. Around 10 a.m. that morning, I received a text message from Alton. "Mr. Haynes, are you going to school today?" My response was, "Alton, I don't think it's safe to travel on the road." I'm sorry. it would be remiss of me to not to mention my appreciation and thanks to those people involved in Alton's reaching this project. The sponsors, which Ms. Adams would mention, Ms. Joan Adams, who helped with promoting the project and acquiring sponsorship for the project, Mr. Gregory Sargent, my D&T colleague, and the person who would have set Alton on his way in the technical training. It must be mentioned that I gave Alton and his friend the okay to begin the project without even consulting Mr. Sargent. When I put the idea to him, he volunteered his service without hesitation and assisted for the duration of the project. Mrs. Michelle Simmons, my principal, who was supportive and was only openly excited about the project, even though we were stepping outside of the box and treading on uncertain grounds. Alton, his name is both or shoot, an acronym for whoops when someone has made a mistake. But given the boat this name can be considered an oxymoron, as this boat is certainly no mistake. It is a work of art, Alton. Alton and I share a common love. We both love boats and fishing, and he reminds me a lot of myself when I was his age. In the last 2 years while working with Alton, I felt as if I have achieved one of my adolescent goals. Alton, thank you for being a model student. You have inspired many students, and I'm confident that you will do well in your future endeavors. Thank you.